And, I told you that too. And we're on. Hello, everyone. I'm Mia Voss, and welcome to this week's edition of 15 Minutes. We're starting off with Shannon, the Shannon Hernandez, apparently picking his nose. You just missed it.
Do it again, Shannon. Do it again.
That's the green room for you. And hey, welcome to my co-host, Christine DeGraff. Hey, girl.
Hey there.
Oh, what's this all about? She gets like applause and I don't?
Okay, and hey, guess what, folks?
No, I don't want it. No.
Okay, too bad, because I got the controls. Welcome also to our guest host this week, Shannon Hernandez. What's up, brother?
I love his faces. He's sitting there making like, oh, I cannot believe you picked me.
I'm going to blue box you for the whole show, which sounds
I think we should.
See, like, even when Les is talking, it's going to be Shannon's reaction.
Yeah, whenever Les talks and he tells,
do the crying, the whole thing. Okay, before we nut out too much further, I want to thank our sponsor for this week, Holiday Inn DC in Washington, where Christine and I are going to go, and we'll have a show.
We need to do that. We need to do that, and soon, because first of all, we need a picture together.
Yes.
So,
and not just these two that we make on PicMonkey.
Yeah, right? Actually, I used Photoshop this week for the one we're going to reveal for our event.
So, and I just have to tell you, so let's thank a couple people. Speaking on Photoshopping, I need to thank Annabelle Hilarski for my fabulous lower third, which is somewhere down here. And then check out Christine, Fancy. Look at that.
Yeah, Shannon created this for me. Isn't that cool?
Say it, Shannon. What do you say to that?
What up?
Kapuya!
Kapuya!
But yes, we do need to get to Holiday Inn DC, and it's inndc.com. That's where we're going to be hopefully soon. I wish we could get there for our New Year's show. Shall we lead into that?
Yes, we are going to have a New Year's show, and it's going to be off the hook. It's a 4-hour HOA-a-thon.
You guys are insane.
Which it is insane. We're trying to figure out like how we're gonna use the bathroom and stuff like.
I'm just warning you, depending on what my New Year's Eve night looks like, it could be me and Bob Voss spooning like for a part of the show. So I'm just saying. But
you know, I continue to get confused every time you say Bob Voss. I always think it's a dude that you're hanging out with, and you say when Bob Voss and I are gonna cuddle or something like that. I'm like, who's this guy that you're hanging out with? And it's really just your cat. I know.
Then there's also the Bob Ross. Everybody thinks he's, painting fluffy little clouds over somewhere. So no, that's the famous tripod Bob. Greg gets in there too. So we had that. But yeah, Christine came up with this idea. Which, listen, anywhere I'm at, Christine presents awesome ideas, and I go, that sounds awesome. So tell us how you came up with the idea, Christine. Let's fill our audience in about our cool show.
Well, I mean, there's first of all. Every week we've been trying to feature a different, co-host and a different guest, and there's so many people that we want to have on, but, there's only so many we can do, so I'm like, well, let's just do a marathon. Let's do every half hour, we're going to have 2 guests, we're going to have 2 co-hosts, and, we're just going to try to cover a lot of topics and get everyone's new, plans for the new year.
Yes.
And, some predictions and all kinds of stuff. We've got a great lineup. We'll reveal that later, but I know that Dustin Stout has committed to it. Mike Alton is committed.
I love those boys.
Shannon will be there. Craig Fifield.
Brother Craig.
Kritika, our kitty cat, is going to be there. Lance Field. So a lot of favorites. Bethan is going to be there. We've got a lot of guests from previous shows. Some social media people that everyone knows about, and we're going to open it up at the end, and we're going to have some time to bring in some people from the audience, and maybe some people who pitched us before, and we just haven't gotten there yet, so give them a chance to come in.
I almost feel like this is going to be one of those old school variety shows. Like Laughing, for those of you who are old enough to
Oh my God.
Things are gonna come flying in, people, ideas. I love it too. It's gonna be a combination of people's personal stories, but then, as I've said before, I feel like people are jacked up for 2014.
Yes.
It's gonna be, right?
Absolutely. I think I know it's my year. I know it's your year. Shannon said it's his year. And
Yes.
I definitely believe it's the year for a lot of people on Google+. So
You know what's hilarious about it being my year this year was that I said last year it was my year this year, and it was kind of my year this year. But next year it's going to be my year because I'm looking forward to the following year being my year. Every year is my year, but it's for the following year.
You know, I have never made any year my year, and that's the thing. It's always, you know, because I was in web design, and so it was always all the customers, you know, and I was always, you know, my blog was last. My ideas were put on the back burner. And it was, you know, when I finally, this year, I said, oh my gosh, you know, I don't really have that much of a presence because it's all about other people. Right. And, you know, I need to make this, you know, because branding is very important. And, you know, so I said I need to spend some time and build up my own brand. And this year is my year, 2014.
I usually say this minute is my minute, and then...
There you go.
Totally. I think so. I think for me, I just was like, I just want 2013 not to suck as much as 2012 because a lot of us were coming out of the downturn economy. Christine, I think we both had the same kind of year where, let's face it, first of all, I coined this last night. It's the year of kick-ass for 2014. I think I'm going to give that up.
Yeah, there you go.
But I think for both of us, what I love for 2013 is we turned ourselves into our own client.
Absolutely.
And yes. I think a lot of people are. I think that Google Plus has been a big springboard for that as well. So, hey, I'm going to read off some of our comments. Hey, everybody out there. Hi, Faye Handstock. The New York show sounds awesome. Thank you, darling. Let's see what else we've got. Brother Craig, 2014, New Jack City. Because he's just so ghetto. I love it. He's the whitest guy in the world. Could he not be the whitest girl in the world? Brother Craig, and thanks, Craig. Craig pimped my ride this week with suggesting on the new profile picture, which was a big commitment for me. So I got to give him a shout out.
Hey, Mark, you know, when I think of Craig, I plus myself. I have to tell you.
When I think of Craig, I think of him drinking a cup of tea. Craig always drinks a cup of tea when you hang out with him.
Yes, he does, exactly. I think more cowbell because that's one of the pictures he sent to me was hashtag more cowbell, so I gotta love that. We've got Jeff C. What's up, brother? The 4-hour New Year show needs a trailer.
We're working on it. We're working on it.
Well, I think we should have Jeff pimp us.
Jeff can do it. You can do it. We would love to have you do it.
Yeah, boom. And
we'll get with you after the show.
Exactly. David Schiffman, bravo, Mia Voss. I'm not sure what I did, but thank you. That's awesome. I think it's turning ourselves into our own client. Mark Seidel wants to know, will there be Jack Daniels? I will have to guarantee that Mama will be drinking a mimosa, so there's that.
I no longer drink, so it'll be going on 3 years for me this coming May.
Get it, girlfriend. Yeah, hold on. Oh, I can't only have so many things open at once. I know.
Too late now.
Wait, how about this?
I will have a virtual Jack Daniels for sure.
Yes, you will. And what do we always say? Mama drinks for the family, and that means you and me. So.
Mama drinks for the family.
That sounds like I might need some kind of intervention. So we are excited. Yes, and Jeff C., don't toy with us, brother. We want to see. If you have not seen, I call it Men on Pinterest. I think they call it Manly Pinterest.
Those guys are awesome, man. Talk about awesome and dispelling total myths about Pinterest. Even though I kind of creep on Pinterest, but those dudes, like I've seen their HOA, and that is so cool what they do.
Yeah, they really do, and it's so funny when we had the show with Dustin Stout the other day, and everybody took different subjects. It was all about what's to come in 2014. I loved it that it was Jeff, a man who took the Pinterest subject. I'm like, now there's some change. The winds of change are blowing. Look at what Amber L has to say, who I just love. I just realized if I don't count on normal years but on school years, it must be the kids. For me, it's the year of 2013, 2014. I like that.
Yeah, she's talking school years, and then we could talk fiscal years if that's going to be your right year.
June to June. I mean, we got that going on too. Hey,
fiscal
Shannon.
Quarters.
Exactly. So before we bring on our guest Les Dossey, really hope yes, we are. He gave us a thumbs up before that we're saying your name right. I know a lot of you are out there are really excited to hear Les's story. We got to hear his awesome accent in the green room, and I think he was, I don't say he was shocked, but I said it's no sunshine and roses over here. We were a little feisty in the green room, weren't we?
Yeah,
in a good way. Shannon, tell us about you real quick, because we heart you.
Well, my name is Shannon Hernandez, as the lower third says. I'm out of Phoenix, Arizona, and I wear a bunch of hats. I work as a radio station DJ here in the Phoenix area at a radio station called KUPD. I am I guess you could say I'm like the marketing person for my sister's law firm, Hernandez Family Law, and on the side, I help people learn all about Google+, educate people on Google+, especially here in the local Phoenix area. That's what I do. So I blog every week, so if you want to go ahead and check out my website, you can see all kinds of blogs on Google+ there if you're new to Google+. But I know there's a lot of people here in the event page that are, they're familiar with Google+, so they should have no problem with that. But that's what I do.
Go read it anyway, and it's shannonjhernandez.com. Boom, kapuya.
Yeah.
Kapuya.
Well, we better get Les in here. It's already
Are you ready?
Is flying.
Okay, and now see, it even flies for us. We were warning him about that. Les, are you ready, my brother? And unmute yourself. Is he there? Oh, dear. Look at that.
There he is.
Look at that. Oh,
where's
yeah.
the applause? There we go.
I need 8 arms to run this show. Brother Les, how are you?
I'm good, Mia. How are you?
I am good. You guys, check out Les's tagline, I get people unstuck. How much do you dig that, everybody? Everybody comment right now.
I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome.
And it's the best tagline because you're like, that makes sense. Now tell me how, right?
Tell you how.
Where are you out of, Les?
I'm over here where the SEAL Team 6 trains, Christine. Norfolk, Virginia.
Oh, cool.
Oh, gotcha.
I thought he was going to say his house.
Is that?
Hey, everywhere I go, there's naval personnel and big battleships and aircraft carriers and M14s and Scuds and you name it.
I want to do that man noise when you're describing that. Like, it sounds so manly where you are. Men everywhere.
Yeah.
All military.
Yeah,
all right, Les. So it's all you, brother. You have such an awesome story, and we're gonna cut you loose. Go, go, go. We want to hear it.
All right, well, I'm going to remove my glasses.
That was a good start, though. We like
lots of comments. People say, "Man, do you have eyes?" So now you can see that I do.
And they
yeah, well, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on my backstory because it's kind of documented on my blog and in some of the posts that I've shared on Google+. I will say this about my backstory. For a lot of years, 30-plus years, it really kind of kept me in my own private hell. Even though I had a lot of success out here, in business and stuff, inside, man, I was having a really hard time, being happy. Outwardly, it certainly appeared like I was happy because I was pretty good at, faking it. So, a series of things happened that kind of put me in that kind of hell that I lived in for all those years. The first thing that happened when I was about 8 or 9, and I don't know the exact year because, I didn't put it down in my journal when it happened, but I got introduced to pornography and masturbation, and, all I can tell you is that it put me on a path, and it became the filter that I sort of navigated my life through. And having gone in and untangled all of that and examined what the effects were to my psyche, to my psychology, was real revealing. And it explained a whole lot about why I made the decisions that I made and acted the way that I acted, and why I ended up in a lot of the places that I ended up in, and why it cost me so much. So, if you think about this, why are we here, taking up space on the planet? It's to connect with one another. I mean, if we don't connect, we die. It's through connection that we find our life's purpose. It's through connection that we identify each other's needs. It's through those needs that we identify our talents and gifts and how to meet those needs. And because of what happened to me at 8 or 9, it kind of got me pointed in a direction that caused me not to focus on those things. And so I I was pretty good at creating relationships because I could manipulate and read people, but it was always self-serving. It was always about me. So I always ended up in these situations that ended up starting off really good, and then it ended up crashing and burning. So, but not, and that's just part of it. The other part of it was that I ended up with a lot of death in my life for some reason. You know, my first girlfriend died when she was 13, then a car full of buddies when I was 17, then a best friend when I was 19 committed suicide, then my first son when he was 5, then both of my siblings. So I've gone through a whole lot of hell, and at age 39, it kind of crashed and burned, and I fell off into this really dark hole, and was extremely depressed. You know, it was one of those places where it felt like if something didn't happen, someone or something didn't intervene, I was going to end up dead. My behavior was destructive, worse than it had ever been. And then in this moment of contemplation about whether or not I should just end it all or not, I heard this, or I felt this sort of unction, I guess, to journal. So I went into my bedroom, pulled out a legal pad, and wrote on the journal, "Life sucks." That was the only thing that I could put down. And from there, I began to sort of, you know, put what was going on in here down on paper, and little by little, I started feeling a little bit better. And about 3 months after I started journaling, I got into this this new thought. Maybe the reason why, and part of the reason why I was in such a bad state was because I'd gone through a second divorce and felt like an utter failure. And how could I screw up 2 marriages, right? And so my thought at the time was, well, maybe the reason why I failed twice was because I never took the time to sort of define what it was that I wanted in a mate. I thought, okay, so I opened up the journal and wrote down in 2 pages exactly what it was that I wanted, you know, graphic detail, stuff that you don't even want to hear about. and then I closed the journal up and I moved on back into my life. Well, about, I don't know, 3 months later, I get a phone call from somebody, and they invited me to a wine and cheese party, so I accepted. First time I'd been socializing since I got divorced, about 2.5 years. So I went to the wine and cheese, I met this couple, had a great time, I left, went right back into my life, you know, doing my business, and about a month later, I get a phone call from the guy from the wine and cheese party. He says, "Would you like to go on a blind date with a tall, beautiful woman from Virginia Beach?" And I said, "Well, tell me some more." You know, and I've always been the kind of guy who would just step off the edge for no reason. Because the risk was there, I was always the guy who would, yeah, let's do it. And it rewarded me handsomely a lot of times, and of course it cost me a lot, cost me dearly a lot. But in this particular situation, I accepted the blind date, and when I met this girl, I thought, wow, she is incredible, you know. We started dating. I'm sitting down on the couch with her one afternoon. I look down and I see my journal on the living room table, open it up, and I realize that she's sitting beside me, this woman that I've described in the journal. Wow. Well, about 3 weeks later, because she and I both had the same interest in, you know, going to the gym and being fit, we were sitting in the parking lot of the gym, and she says, "I need to ask you something." And I said, "What's that?" She said, "I need to know that who you are, who you're representing yourself to be, is who you really are." Mm-hmm. And in my mind, I thought, what is she asking me? This doesn't compute. Am I being who? And that was kind of how I felt, right? Well, so I asked her to clarify what she meant. She said, "I just need to know that who you are is who you are." And I said, "Well, I think I am, but what I heard was from her that it was okay for me to be me."
Right.
And all the years previous to that, I felt like I was having to walk on eggshells, I was having to conform, I was having to be something other than who I was in order to satisfy these people in my life. And of course it was all self-inflicted, right? Because of my thinking. Well, that was kind of the beginning of my rebirth, so to speak. And her giving me permission to be me removed a lot of the resistance and the barriers between me and me changing. Right. Between me and me untangling all the crap that had happened to me over the years so that I could be free. And little by little, from reading 4,000 plus books, from listening to tens of thousands of hours worth of audio, from studying every thought leader you can imagine on changing human behavior and changing as a person, I began to untangle all of that stuff, and I got more and more free and more free, and eventually I found that, all of that sort of led me into having an incredible amount of empathy for other people who suffer.
Right.
And I made the decision about a decade ago to go into this full time as a coach. And so as a result, my studies have been centered around how can I help the next person? What is the thing beneath the thing that's causing this person to be all messed up, all tangled up, and not living, loving, and contributing fully, for themselves and for others. And so that put me on a path of coaching here locally and regionally, sort of, out here in the analog world, not in the digital world. And I had a lot of success. But I made a decision that I had engineered that whole business model to kind of keep myself small, to protect myself from greater things. Marianne Williamson said what did she say? She said it's not, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, but that we, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I had
come into your greatness.
Yeah, I'd kind of engineered my life to kind of keep me in this little cocoon, so to speak, and I was doing cool stuff. But one day I woke up and I went, well, wait a minute. You have a lot to contribute. You have more to offer than what you're giving. So I started expanding and went digital and opened up my own blog and really started becoming a prolific writer and started doing some public speaking and beginning to build a platform in order to extend my reach. And I had a little bit of success there, Twitter and Facebook and some of those platforms. And then when I found Google+, man, things just really began to explode. And I'm now making connections all over the world. I picked up clients on other continents, and it's just the coolest thing in the world. And I guess the part that's the most interesting to me is how much more free I am than I ever thought that I would be. I talk to people every day, and most of them are just in survival mode. They're coping.
Right.
They're not free. Mm-hmm. They haven't taken a full breath since they were children. And I remember what that was like. I remember what it was like to feel like you couldn't catch your breath, to feel like, you just hoped you could get through the day.
Right. Hunker down.
And now, man, I love every moment. My intention every single day is this, Mia. It's what can I do to remove additional resistance, remove additional barriers so that I can move forward in my life and help others do the same. So because that's my intention, that's where my focus is all the time. And when I catch myself or when I catch somebody else, I'm like, is there any benefit or value in thinking that way or acting that way or making those choices? If there's not, then let's look at it from a different angle. Let's ask a different question. Let's find a better way so that we're not repeating this over and over and over again. Let's get free.
Right.
In other words. So anyway, I mean, that's the abbreviated version of my story. There's so many additional backstories that tie it all together and make it, man, if I put it all together in one lump sum, it seems like, why didn't you put a gun to your head and pull the trigger?
Right. But, if you take those separate pieces, it seems overwhelming. I don't know about you guys. Who needed to hear this today? Raise your hand.
I really feel like
I can't take it. Oh.
I feel like you could be telling my story less. I mean, I relate so much. I've gone through 2 failed marriages. I had a pretty rough childhood. I had a lot of experience with going down the wrong path, and I understand that feeling of walking on eggshells and
right.
not
taking a full breath. How perfect is that to describe it?
And it was actually, I started journaling was how I untangled myself. Is, I started writing down how, it started out as a weight loss journal, because I actually, I used to weigh about, probably about 60 or 70 pounds more than I do now. I was pretty heavy. And a lot of it was from drinking and eating, not taking care of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I started a weight loss journal, but I started, writing down how I was feeling, like what was making me overeat and drink, and it was more. And then I just started journaling about, how I was feeling and I started examining what was causing me to feel this way, what was I so unhappy about, and once I, was able to get it down and start, realizing. It just created this awareness for me that I was able to let it go, and I stopped drinking. The weight came off. I started feeling more free. I met my fiance, and it was as similar as to when you were talking about with that lady. Is he's like we're ourselves. We are 100% like who we are. There's no pretending, and I think that. That's such a weight lifted off if you don't have to spend your life pretending to be somebody or doing things to make someone else, think of you as a certain way. Just be yourself and be free, and that really, it really has made a huge difference for me.
Les, I want to ask you a question, kind of to tail off of what Christine is saying, and I know that in the time that I did radio. I had to listen to Loveline a lot with Dr. Drew, and they always talks about the defining moment where it was the most absolute rock bottom. At what time, what age was that whenever you decided that this was going to be the moment that you turned yourself around and you said, forget what is going on in my mind, this is what's going to happen, and I'm taking control of what I do as a person, how I'm going to further myself and better myself so that I can live life fully and for the reason that it was meant for?
Yeah, I was 39, Shannon, and I was in so much pain. I mean, I can't even feel the pain anymore. It's so far removed from what I know I was experiencing at the time. So now I don't wait for pain to change. I'm constantly in change mode. So every single day I'm looking to break through that next level. I don't wait for pain to come around to sort of fuel my change anymore. It's foolish to wait on it when you can change now without that, right? Mm-hmm. The thing that helped me the most, and this is probably the thing that I'm the most proud of, I used to judge everybody critically because I felt so much shame about myself that I had to put other people down in order to feel good about myself.
Right.
And I didn't really know that I was doing it. And that made it really hard to develop relationships and go deep with someone, which is where the greatest joy can be found, right? It's going deep with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a defense mechanism for sure.
Yeah.
For so many, right?
What I started doing that helped me break free was when my feet hit the floor in the morning, I said, you know what? I choose to love everybody I encounter today unconditionally. I don't care how they behave. I don't care what they do. I'm going to love them. Period. Mm-hmm. They can't hurt me because I'm making the choice to love them. I thought love was a feeling. When I learned it was a verb, that it's an action or a choice, and I started practicing that, it changed everything. And I quit judging people and started seeing them for the beautiful people that they are, and it just changed everything for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you definitely, the story in the brief moment that you talk is, you telling the story of how you rise above the occasion and how each one of us may be at a different point on that timeline, on our life's timeline, where we are attempting to reach and go above that occasion. And I believe a lot of it has to do with, like what you're talking about, love. It's about giving love and providing love. And that, being a guy, it's a difficult thing to come across. And it's a difficult thing to say that you love someone. Yeah. And, after a while, you just begin to say, screw this. I do love you. I love my dad the same way today, and my sister the same way that I did when I was, 13 years old. And right. I don't care what anyone says about that, because ultimately, at the end of the day, you you have to love them, and it's a feeling that they, of appreciation that you want to give to them. So I commend you, sir, for stepping out of that shell at that age. I'm 37 myself, and I think I realized this at 36.
Yeah.
Right. And I think too, guys. Oh, sorry. I'll just throw that in. I think that the biggest thing we're seeing as a theme too is really, it looks like it started from you, and once you kind of got to that, don't you guys think that we've all gone through that too? It's like once we're accepting ourselves, that just opens up, not to be tried, but a ton of things which we're okay here. Then we can be opened up to a lot of other things.
I think
we're feeling good.
It's we're all a constant work in progress too, and I feel like we're all human. We all make mistakes. I try to examine my motives a lot of times, and a lot of times, when you some things you might do, and you realize when you really look at it that it was very self-serving. Maybe you were pretending to do or thinking you were doing something nice for somebody or whatever, but when you really looked back, it was self-serving. And so now I try to examine my motives and say, I want to do good things without being self-serving, because and once so anytime I'm doing anything in life now, I try to think about that. I'm like, am I doing this for me, or am I doing this for a better reason? Because if I'm only doing this for me, then maybe I need to think about why am I using somebody else to do something good for me? That's not good. I try not to do that.
I call it taking out my fear filter. I just, because I think a lot of things just come from such a place of fear, Christine, and same as that so now I love that. I think it's our new filter. I'm liking it for all of us.
We're already over time. Can you believe that?
We are. I told you. That was good. We just love, we are loving what you're saying, because it's a story that I think for all of us, you can see in the audience when we're done here, go back through, because you are pinging some really big hot spots for a lot of people as well. If anything, just from the theme of being really authentic and telling your story and being out loud and proud about it, because I think people needed to hear it. Hey, I have a quick question for you. Can you tell us real quick about some of the pictures? I think somebody asked for, they wanted you to tell about the pictures that are in the banner on the event before we head out.
The two young men up top in the middle are a couple of young men I started mentoring about 7 years ago.
Oh,
the young man below that I'm kissing is my son. That's at his wedding.
Oh, I love it.
The kids to the right are from Matamoros Casa Bethel Orphanage. I took a team in there and we powered up the entire orphanage. The pastor that ran that orphanage had been taking care of 40 kids for 7 years with no power.
Wow.
The next year, bring power to them. So we went in and we ran electricity to the entire orphanage, put in refrigeration and air conditioning and lighting and ceiling fans, and really changed their life. It was the coolest thing. And there's a bunch of stories associated with that. It's just incredible.
Wow. Oh, I love that. Will you post a link to them for that? If they've got a link or any information, make sure to post all of your information right here. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be pinging you, my brother. I think you hit a good nerve for a lot of people.
How can people reach you, Les?
Well, my blog is iamles.com. Of course, they can reach me through two of my communities. I have the Impossible Fitness. If somebody wants to really reach for that next level of fitness and they're serious about it, I'll welcome them into the community. It's not open to everybody. And then I have the Success Habits community, which if you'll just type in Success Habits in the community search engine, it'll come up. And that one's open to anybody who wants to, get focused on developing better habits.
Which is most of us.
Go with all, right?
Yeah.
Les, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. It is fantastic to hear it in person. We've all seen it written, but to hear you tell it really brings it alive.
Hey,
yes, definitely.
Can I say one more thing? You asked me before we started to point something out, and I'd like to do that if I can.
Yes, please.
My focus. Who's the ideal client for me? I coach men and women separately. I counsel couples, and I consult for organizations. So if you're stuck as a man or as a woman or as a couple, or as a business owner, then I probably can help you, because most of the time when we get stuck, it's right here, right between these two paddles on the side of your head.
Yep.
And it's really just a matter of somebody asking you better questions than you're asking yourself.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
Great way to put it. Yeah.
Absolutely agree with that.
A lot of quotables. I'm waiting for all the people to start doing those quotes. They've been doing a lot of the Hangouts too. I think they're going to come flying through here. So, hey guys, that's it. And it was really short. It felt really short this time. So, Shannon, thank you for joining us today too, brother, and bringing
Can I
your
say
fabulous.
one
Love
thing
you,
about?
Shannon.
Hey,
Yes.
you're awesome, Les, and this is what I think about you. Kapuya!
That's a really good thing.
Mia, you want to pimp out your show on Friday?
Yes, I have a show this Friday that's going to feature two of the people that are here today. As you guys all know, I have the Social Media Power Chat at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time on Fridays. I'm going to have Christine, Shannon, Linabate Johnson in her very first HOA, and Chef Dennis, who's going to sing for us just a little bit. And it was more on a dare from Shannon. We might get in trouble with Ted Nugent, because I think that is a Ted. We're going to take off on a Ted Nugent song, right?
Yeah.
Shannon?
Oh, yeah. It's a Ted Nugent song. We could say it's a Pantera version, but whatever.
Exactly. So thank you, Christine, for that. And then, Christine, we're all going to be back here in, what, 2 weeks?
Yes, more details to come, but New Year's Day, keep it open. We're having a 4-hour hangout-a-thon, so you can, catch some of it or all of it, but it's going to be a great time. And more details coming up probably today.
One more quick shout out to Holiday in DC. Go to inndc.com. And yeah, we got to plan our trip, so we'll get on that too. So that's it. Thank you, Shannon, Les, Christine.
Thank you guys. I really
everybody.
appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.